Have you ever been caught off guard by a hot flash in the middle of a work meeting? Or felt anxiety sneak up on you when you least expected it? Well, you're not alone. In today's episode, we are diving into those tricky Meno moments we all know too well. We're answering some of your questions from our Menopause Support Facebook group, tackling everything from sleep struggles to handling those unexpected waves of sadness. Join us for practical advice, a few laughs, and plenty of support. Keep listening to this episode of the Menowave Lounge, Hot Flashes, and Cool Conversations.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, Hot Flashes and Cool Conversations. Today, it's going to be Marty and I. Hi, Marty.
Hey, Robin. Good to see you.
We don't have a special guest today, but we're going to look at some of the posts that the ladies have been posting on the Facebook, the Menopause Support group. But first, we wanted to talk about a little Meno moment that Marty and I have been going through. Marty, share your Meno moment with us.
Well, it's like an ongoing Meno moment. I am hot and I'm in Colorado and it's not, comparatively speaking, it's not as hot here as like, say it would be like in Arizona or Texas. And I get that, but I am a hot person anyway. I mean, yes, I'm hot looks wise. No, but I'm hot, just sweaty. So my favorite thing, because I'm having these hot moments all the time, is my little Vornado tower fan, desk fan. I take it everywhere. I'm not even ashamed anymore. Like I go to pub trivia and we sit by the windows and it's like a greenhouse in there and it's always hot. I don't know if they have AC or not. I just sweat. And so I used to bring my neck fan and then the little clip-on fan. And you know what? I'm not even bothering with that anymore. Now I've got the big guns. I bring out this fan, I plug it in and it's sit on the table. And that's what I go with. I move this fan everywhere I go, out in public, in my house. It doesn't matter. I am attached to this pillar fan and you can get it on Amazon. They're not expensive at all and definitely well worth it because I carry it everywhere and it's nice and quiet. You can't even hear it going. How about you, Robin?
I can totally relate to the whole fan thing. And fortunately, I do live in a cooler area at the beach. So we really don't have like a whole lot of issues with the heat these days. But I can definitely tell that I still get hot flashes and I'm going to be 62 this year. So I was doing an actual little video clip with a gym owner. And because I'm running Circle of Friends, which is a ladies group and it's an in-person. And so the person that owns the gym, he said, let's do a little video because we were talking about lack of sleep and different things. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. And so he says, come on over here and sit down. And when he turns on his camera and everything, and immediately I had a hot flash. And so here I am on video with him when he's talking to me, asked me what Circle of Friends is about and why it's important. And I'm just totally like red. I am just so red. And I'm just like, oh, I'm having a hot flash. And this is going to go out too. He's going to post this. And I'm just going to have this completely red face from this hot flash that I was having. And I just kind of like smiled through it. I just figured, okay, I'm just not going to say anything. I just kind of chuckled in the back of my mind. I'm just like, okay, this is a Meno moment right now, you know. And all I did was just get up and sit in one place from another place. And it triggered a hot flash for me. And I was just like, this is just crazy, you know. And then like 30 seconds later, it was gone. I didn't ask him to redo it, but I was chuckling to myself because we talk about Meno moments all the time.
I can absolutely. Yeah. Like you relate to me, I relate to you. And from it sounds some of these questions that we have, I mean, some of it is hot flash, like we're going fine and all of a sudden it waves over us. But also some of us is just hot. And I have so many stories that I probably will share into as we go along. But speaking of hot places, Arizona, as we were talking about, can be hot. I don't know November if it's going to be that hot, but leads into, Robin, the Menopalooza retreat in Sedona, which is actually in the northern part of Arizona. And it is very beautiful. And it is, from what I understand, probably about 10 degrees cooler than it is in other parts of the state. In November, it should be beautiful, I would think. But yeah. Robin, why don't you share a little bit about the Menopalooza retreat that we've been also excited about and talking about these last few months?
Yes, I am. I am so excited about this. This is the Menopalooza retreat. And it's going to be November 4th through the 7th. And it's going to be at the Wild Resort and Spa. And this place is such a beautiful, just being able to go and be in that energy zone that Sedona brings. When we start tuning into ourselves, we can feel these vibrations. So in Sedona, there's so much different types of earth that attracts these types of vibrations and vortex. And there's really a lot of history that is around Sedona. And just coming and being able to share and learn from our providers. I'm going to be talking about your inner critic. I'm doing a presentation on that, how to, number one, identify your inner critic. Who is she and who is it that's talking to you and why is that important? And how to turn that around and make that into a positive internal voice that's encouraging you instead of tearing you down. So that'll be what I'm doing a presentation on. We have, I think, 10 or 12 different providers that are going to be speaking. And it's just going to be such an incredible, wonderful time of sharing. A lot of the women bring a girlfriend and come and enjoy. And once again, we just get to share. And this is just a group of women that are coming together and being able to talk about what we're going through and in the ups and downs and the roller coasters of it, So I'm really excited. I hope that you come up and introduce yourself. If you've seen the podcast, come talk to me.
It's going to be such a fun time. And like Robin was saying, an opportunity to make new friends, to learn from the Menowave care practitioners who are going to be there, and just be surrounded by love in this beautiful, magical place. Like Robin was saying with Sedona, multiple energy vortexes or vortices. And depending on where your interests lie on the history of the place, like Robin was saying, and the spirituality of the place. I've hiked up into a couple of them. I mean, you don't necessarily even feel it, but it's just a space. It's just really, really magical. And stay tuned at the end of this podcast, we will be announcing today's final marble of the day. And now, first of all, you have to sign up and actually be going to the Menopalooza retreat in order to be eligible to win the $250 gift certificate. But if you've already signed up, great. If you haven't, the link will be in the show notes and description below, as well as a different link to enter that marble and enter your name into the contest. But more about that towards the end when we actually get to the marble. So I'm very excited about today's show. It's fun that we just went through and found some questions and some posts that the women in the menopause support group have been making that really speak to me and Robin today. And rather than sit down and typing up an answer, I just thought we'd talk about them on this episode and just have a friendly girl talk about some of the stuff that has been coming up for these women. And I imagine you all, whoever's listening, could probably relate to maybe more than one of them. So Robin, why don't you start us off with one of the first posts that you saw?
Okay. Well, let's see. This is from Kelly, and she says, how does everyone handle overwhelming anxiety? It's difficult to show up to work some days. Is this our hormones as well? And thanks, Kelly, for making that post, number one. And yes, it is our hormones that are giving us amplified anxiety. And especially when you're at work, it can really show up a lot of anxiety and stress. And the thing about it is, I look back because I can go through that anxiety and stress as well. And you feel it. It just, it's just right there in your chest. Well, for me, it is. Stress can show up in a lot of different areas of our body. But when we are going through our hormonal changes, it does amplify our stress levels and our stress hormones. And especially when you're at work or out in public, or just even waking up in the morning feeling a little stress and anxiety, how is that? How are we handling that? What are your experiences, Marty?
Well, gosh, I can totally relate. And one of the benefits of being on this podcast and talking to so many different practitioners, we can learn from people with different backgrounds and experiences outside of our own. Robin and I both specialize in mindset anyway, so we have our own point of view from where that comes from. But yes, absolutely. These hormonal changes, there's various reasons why we start feeling the increase in anxiety. It's like Robin said, it's the stage of life where we're at. There's a lot of stress that we're inundated with all day long for years and years and years coming up. And then there's uncertainty about the future. I mean, our positions within our family is changing, our positions in our work is changing. Do we want to keep working? Do we want to take a step back? Some of us, our kids have either already moved out or they're in the process of it. And our parents, if they're still around, are aging and need us too. It's like we're getting hit all around on that anxiety level. For me, even though I know all this stuff is going on, sometimes I do wake up and for me, it feels like sometimes this overwhelming feel, just this feeling of dread, just this feeling like something is really bad is going to happen. Other times it's just this feeling of unease and just like unnerving, or like I feel like I'm on edge for hours on end. Now, I understand that that's what's happening. So it's a little different for me. And there's many tools in my toolbox that I can go to. But now is always no better time like the present to really start getting into a routine of self-care. Means a lot of different things, but relaxing the mind mentally, taking that break, taking what I call setting back to an emotional neutral, whether that just be kicking back, close your eyes, put on your headphones and listen 15, 20 minutes of spa music, meditation music, solfeggio frequencies. Don't worry about thinking about anything, just checking out, just zoning out, just gives your mind and body an opportunity to reset. Another thing that I have said on previous podcasts is that when I wake up first thing in the morning and feel like the sky is falling, first of all, I make a decision that I'm not going to get out of bed until I decide it's going to be a good day. And also what goes along with that is I'll go through in my mind, are my kids healthy? Yes. Am I healthy? Yes. As far as I know, I am in this moment. We have a roof over our head? Yes. Is everything okay? Yes. That helps. Okay. Anything that my mind is creating is maybe an exaggeration or a worry that I don't necessarily need. And I go with that. And finally, what I will say on that one, because you had mentioned about some days you can't even go to work, that I would say is not common. And I would also say that is not something, friend to friend, person to person, that's not something that you need to put up with for very long. I would say if you're at the point where you cannot function, if this is interfering with your ability to function day to day, even if it's just one day you're just feeling overwhelmed and it's becoming more of a pattern, reach out to somebody who can help you with that, whether it be a mindset coach like Robin, a hypnotist like me, a therapist, a counselor. That's something to look at. If something is really interfering with your ability to do your job or live your life or function, don't let that slide. There's no need to, because there are ways around that. So you can just reach out to any of us Menowave care providers if you have questions on that. If we can't help you, we'll refer you to someone who can. So that was a really good question, Robin.
Yeah, that's a good question. I just want to add a couple more things that when we're going through anxiety, like in the morning, if you're waking up and you're having that anxiety, like Marty said, you count your blessings, go through the reasons why. I mean, where is that coming from? But also do some deep breathing, because once again, that deep breathing is going to like reset your mindset. That really helps to like calm down that anxiety. And then also too, when you're at work, look at your environment at work. Is it causing you anxieties, or do you have things around you that are comfortable? Like you can sometimes have like a lavender scent cachet that or something that smells like lavender, which is very soothing. You can have a like a dimmer light that's not so bright. Your computer light can cause you stress. When I'm at work, I have like a nice sweater, that I feel comfortable with, and I feel like that's kind of like wrapping me in security. So there's different things that you can do at work to provide an environment that's going to help lower that anxiety. And I would also say, and following up with what Marty just said too, if you're at work and you are seeing that you are having a lot more anxiety and you know that you're eating healthy, that you're cutting out the processed sugars and the drinking more water and salts, and you're having a healthy diet, you're getting up, you're walking more. And walking is really good. When you feel anxiety, you can walk that off too. And, stretch your brain, stretch your eyes. I carry a seashell or a little rock. This is my little rock right here. I don't know if you can see that.
There it is.
I carry that in my pocket. And so if I get a little anxiety, I just grab a hold of that and that balances me out. Mostly I have seashells in my pocket, but grab something that you can feel in your hand. Smells is really good. Music is really good. Those are things that if you're at work that you can use to lower your stress or your anxiety, or if you're having an anxious attack.
And just one more thing I want to add on to that is that certainly hormone replacement therapies help a lot of people. So if you're open to that, you can go down that path. You might find some relief in that way. Same thing with some supplements or even in some cases medication. That said, those can help and often do, but I'm going to say that these mindset tools that Robin and I mentioned, as well as others that someone can help you with, will just help make all of that so much easier, and will make all of those work better when you can incorporate some of these mindset techniques as well on that.
Yes, and definitely if you're looking at HRTs or BHRTs or patches or any type of these things, make sure that you are working with a professional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. So next question is from Jenna. And she says, I can't sleep. What should I do to find a doctor? I know it's menopause.
Well, yes, that sadly does tie into for so many different reasons with our hormones changing, sleep does get affected. Now, there's a lot of things that we can do. Rob and I actually did a podcast episode early on. I believe it was, I'm just going to check, I think it was episode 4. Yep, it's episode 4 called Better Sleep, Happier Days, where we talk about good sleep hygiene tools to start us off and some ways to get better sleep.
Getting good sleep really comes back to having a routine. And these are common sense, and you might be doing some of them, but some of them you might be going, oh, hey, yeah, I haven't tried that one in a while. So having a routine before you go to bed is really important. Number one, it's kind of like how you have your children when they were little. Oh, it's bath time. Now get our jammies on and have some more milk or tea, and then get yourself all nice and relaxed. And maybe you have like music that you put on, or a book that you're reading, or something like that. Electronics definitely need to be in the other room if possible. But when you start building this habit, like chamomile tea is very nice and soothing. Some people like CBDs before they go to bed to help relax them. Meditation, yoga, making sure you have proper airflow in throughout your room. I like sleeping with my window half open just because I like to have that nice cool airflow. If you wake up in the middle of the night and before you can get fully awake, I turn on a little bit of music, and that puts my mind right back. If it's racing, then I bring my racing mind back into one place in the current now, and I'll turn music on and I'll focus in on that. And then next thing you know, I'm back asleep. Sometimes hot flashes will wake us up. And I know, like, a hot flash for me, I'm not ripping off the covers anymore, but I've got my foot hanging out until I get nice and cool, and I tuck it back in, and then I have it out and I tuck it back in. Cooling sheets work really nice. Cooling pillow, that's really very nice, and it works really well. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to add to your routine. What do you think, Marty?
Oh, I agree with so many of those. And I'm running through my mind. Well, first of all, it's because, again, of our hormone fluctuation, from what I understand, and I am by no means a doctor, so don't quote me on this, but from what I've learned, is that the progesterone has a lot to do with helping us sleep and stay relaxed. So once again, that might be something to explore on the hormone side. What I'll also say is a lot of times we're just churning in our minds over and over again. We go to bed, we lay down, and every single anxiety, every single thing that we have said throughout the day comes back. We worry about bills, we worry about our kids, we worry about our jobs, we worry about whatever, and all this stuff decides when we're nice and relaxed and it's quiet, and then our our minds are like, hey, you haven't thought about this in 2 hours. So there's some techniques on that as well. You can write everything that pops into your mind, you can write it down, keep a little notepad or a journal next to your bed and just write down these thoughts, that just so that that tells you, okay, I need to call so and so tomorrow, or oh, I need to check when this payment is due. And then if you want to assign a time or a date or a time that you're going to deal with that, whether you do, whether you don't, doesn't really as matter so much as it tells your brain, okay, I gotcha. Now we can move on. I'm going to deal with that. You don't have to keep reminding me at 2 o'clock in the morning. Some things that usually work for me is engaging my imagination in ways that I want it to be. So maybe it's imagining myself being super tired, like tired beyond I've ever been in my life, and imagining that I'm tired, and then creating in my mind a sleepy space that is so comfortable. Maybe it's this perfect bed that I'm laying in. Maybe it's a tiny little room. Maybe it's decorated a certain way where I can just create in my mind a way that I can relax, or where I would like to sleep. Doesn't matter if my husband's snoring next to me or if it's hot in my room or dogs are barking or what have you. In my mind, I'm creating that. And oftentimes that's enough to help me drift off to sleep. Another thing that I'll do is, I've had this going on for 20 years, is I actually run a story in my head. Like, but usually it only takes me a few minutes to set the scene and just creating a story, a fiction story of whatever it is. And what the story is about is less important than the fact that it's taking my mind away from the real stuff that wants to keep me awake. And I'll either bore myself to sleep with this story, or just my brain is finally able to relax and let go.
Mhm.
There are meditations you can listen to. There are hypnosis recordings that you can listen to. I even have one. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to send it to you, no cost at all, to help just kind of help train your mind and guide your mind from that awake and the hyper alert and everything and anything is going to bug you to, okay,
Mhm.
to relax my body, relax my mind. There's a lot of ways to do that. And sometimes, though, I will say sometimes we can do all those things and we still can't sleep. And that's when having that ability to relax the mind, relax the body, I call it powering down. We're not necessarily asleep, but our minds are relaxed enough and our bodies are relaxed enough. It's the next best thing. So I've had nights where if I couldn't get into that actual healing, restorative, deep sleep, knowing that I powered down and that my body and my mind have relaxed for a couple of hours usually works. It gets me through the next
Yeah.
day. And then I
Yeah.
can usually sleep pretty well the following night.
Yeah, and those are really good. I hadn't thought about the creating the story, but something similar that I do is, and I know I just said electronics shouldn't be in your room, like you shouldn't fall asleep in front of the TV. It's just not good. But there is a caveat to that. If you do have your phone next to you, put it in nighttime mode so that alarms or alerts aren't dinging through the night. And then the other one that I do is if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm awake, then I have a story on the Audible,
Yeah.
and it's usually something very lighthearted, something easy, not scary or anything like that. And I'll turn that on and I'll set it for like 20 minutes. And within
Mhm.
20 minutes, I'm back asleep and it shuts it right off so it's not completely going. But that also works really good with music. You can set a timer for music. Some people have the Alexa and they like to turn that on and put music and then put a timer to it. So there's lots of things that you can do when you're in the moment of trying to get back to sleep. Just take some of these, pick one or two things and try them, because what works for one might not work for another and vice versa. So pick something and feel good about it. But I will say, do be careful about eating too much before bed.
Mhm.
Make sure that you're hydrated. I always have water near my bed.
Some other things that popped into my mind are like, if you want to take a hot bath, take the Epsom salts. That's magnesium. Magnesium is really good to help you sleep. And if you want to take magnesium, you could take that. A lot of people find help taking that maybe 20 minutes before bedtime, or like I said, soaking in the Epsom salts, which is magnesium salts. When we're listening to music, I don't recommend music with words, because then that might be just a little bit too much engagement with our minds, even if it's our favorite song. Some of that there again, I go back to what's called solfeggio frequencies. You can find them on like Spotify playlists or even on YouTube. They're music that are created with certain sound waves that are conducive for better sleep. There's sound waves, that frequencies that are better for meditation or for restoring good health. And I like to listen, pick and choose. And The music is pretty, I mean, it sounds like spa music or meditation music, just there's no words, but those sound waves and the frequencies, I find that they do help a lot, especially when I'm checking out for like 20 minutes to go back to neutral, but also when we're trying to sleep, it definitely can help. A lot of people like to think that, well, if they have a couple of glasses of wine before bedtime, that helps relax them. Caution on that, because while it might help you go to sleep, it's not necessarily going to be, might not be a restful sleep. A lot of people find that they might wake up a few hours
Mhm.
later and then they still struggle going back to sleep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
What's our next one, Robin?
Okay, let's see. This is by Anna, and she says, I've been going through menopause for 5 years, and lately I just feel so gross and sad. I am so down in the dumps right now. Mm,
Girl, I can totally
mm,
I can totally relate. I mean,
mm.
again, it goes back to mindset, but we're human, right? And if you're like me, we've grown up in a society that we get all these messages about how a woman is supposed to look and how a desirable woman is supposed to look. And there's all these messages about age and about figure and all of that. And when you've grown up that way, when you've had that conditioning and you've had that belief, and then we reach this period of our life where things kind of go haywire a little bit. We're gaining weight that we fought so long to keep our weight in check or to keep it slim or even be healthy, or what we consider to be healthy. And these are all good things, right? But our hormones change, and there's a whole bunch of different reasons why this happens. But often a lot of us do find that we're starting to put on extra weight. We feel, I feel sweaty. Like I just said, I'm sweaty like all the time. And it doesn't matter how cute I feel I look in my clothes. If I go outside 5 minutes later and I'm dripping with sweat and my makeup's running and I don't feel good in my own skin sometimes. And so you're not alone. And I think that there's a lot of women who can relate to that feeling. And so my heart, opens up to you. I feel that. I feel that. And know as well, though, that there are things that you can do. And sometimes it's not even like getting to the goal of like, okay, well, I want to get back down to the size I was when I was 20 or 30 or even 5 years ago. Oftentimes, Robin, I don't know if you ever feel this way, but even if you're starting to take steps to improve your situation, let's take, for example, that we are gaining more weight because our hormones change and there's reasons why there's all this stuff. So if we're going down path to try and remedy that, whether it's changing our diet into eating something healthier, cutting out sugar, eating more protein. Oftentimes I find that even though I'm not there, because I know that it might take me some time to get to where I want to be, it feels good every day to think, okay, well, this is the one thing that I'm doing for myself today because I feel frumpy or I don't like that I'm gaining the weight or whatever that might be. If I know that, hey, today I ate as healthy and as cleanly as I could, that helps. If I go out and take a walk for 10 minutes, knowing that that's something that I'm doing for my health, even though I may not see the results for a long time, I feel better about myself. And sometimes that might even be too much of a stretch. And I get that too. And what I do for myself, and I recommend for people that I work with, is look at that beautiful woman in the mirror and look her in the eyes and tell her, just how amazing she is.
Mhm.
And it sounds like, I think some people are like, oh yeah, Marty, whatever. But I gotta say, when you're really in that moment and you look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, listen, look at her, look at that woman with the eyes of someone who loves her very, very much. Pretend you're someone who loves you very much. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your kid, whoever it is. If you pretend you're that person and you're looking in the mirror at you through their eyes, what do
Mhm.
they see? They don't care if you're X amount of pounds heavier than you want to be. They don't care if you're sweaty. They don't care if you're, you know, cranky today. They're
Yeah.
looking at you because they
They
love
have
you.
love
Yeah.
in their heart for you.
They're loving, exactly, loving their heart for you. So put that on yourself. And if you need help with that, there's an exercise I can help you through. And have it in my book, but really it's simple as that. Just some things to try. And it may not fix everything in that moment forever, but in that moment, if it helps you feel just like 5% better, well, that's
Yeah.
5% better than you felt when you first got up, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, and that's the thing about, we all do have our moments when we feel sad. or we just feel exhausted, or we have a little anxiety, or something's really weighing on our minds and it feels amplified because of our hormones that are just kind of ramping up, and sometimes they're all over the place. And I think the biggest thing is just to accept where you are at today. You don't have to judge yourself and criticize yourself, and that critic that sits inside our minds and wants to spin around and say negative things to ourselves. And when we can recognize that that's what's going on, we can turn that around. And like, Marty said, I mean, just giving yourself permission to be okay today. You don't have to fix everything. You can give yourself a hug. You can do some positive self-talk. Sometimes there are days, like yesterday was a day for me, and I had just came from a really busy couple, 3 or 4 days. And my mindset was just like, all I want to do is just watch my girl chick flicks and be in my pajamas. And I had a cup of tea, and I think I snacked on some fruit, and I just ate whatever I wanted to eat. And I just gave myself permission to be there. I didn't have to fix myself. I didn't have to criticize myself. I didn't have to try and, I didn't do anything. I took a break from my reality and just kind of checked out for a day. And I gave myself permission to do that. Now, today I was up, I took my shower, started my day, had something good to eat, took a walk, I had a whole list of to-do things from the day before. And so I got all those things done, feel really great. But it's giving ourselves permission to be in the moment, to give ourselves some downtime, some love time, some it's okay time. And yeah, one last thing I was going to say, add on to that, is that actually happened yesterday. Is a friend of mine, a new friend of mine. I knew all weekend that something was going on with her, and I didn't know what it was. And she texted me and she said that her dog had died. Mm. And they had to put her precious dog to sleep and went to heaven. And so I checked in with her yesterday, and she says, I'm so sad today. I'm sitting on the couch drinking red wine and I'm crying, and my heart just broke for her. Mm. And immediately I called her and I just said, this is a great big hug to you, and I'm here for you. And she says, I'm so glad that you called. I felt so alone. And she told me the story of, what happened with her dog and everything. And by the end of the conversation, she was feeling much better. And, she had found a way through the pain. And even though there's still going to be grieving that's going to be going on, it was a moment of bonding with another human being. And I would say that also too, if you're sad and you're feeling gross and you can't pull out of it, call somebody that loves you, and just say, I just really need to talk to somebody. Jump on the Facebook group and just say, who else is going through this? And there are so many amazing women that are in our group. And I would just encourage you to reach out to the group, reach out to friends, reach out to somebody and talk, even just to say, hey, when you reach out to somebody and ask them how they're doing, that like it lifts that sadness off of you. And then it's a reciprocating thing, because then they can say, how are you doing? And you can say, I just really needed to be in some positive space coming into my life. And that can turn you around in a minute, just by talking to somebody that cares and loves for you.
Absolutely.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. Definitely not alone. And also I wanted to add one more final thought on there. There's no need to get down on yourself for feeling that way, for having those moments, for having those days. Sometimes all this stuff we're trying to show up for other people, and maybe we feel down in the dumps or feel like we're gross that day. And there's a million reasons why we feel that way. And and sometimes I know that I get this way. Then I start feeling guilty for feeling that way about myself. And there's no need to do that. I've talked about this before, but, say a little prayer of forgiveness. Just look at yourself in the mirror, imagine yourself in the mirror, and tell her, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And for whatever, because you didn't eat healthy yesterday, or because you have that 5 extra pounds, or because you're making something out of nothing. It doesn't matter what it is. You're not wrong at all. And It doesn't serve us very much to dwell down there in the dumps. But my goodness, we go down there a lot, don't we? And that's okay, as long as we
And
know how to
back
get
up.
ourselves out of it. Yes, get back out of it. And you can Google it. It's a Ho'oponopono, or Hawaiian forgiveness prayer.
Yes.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And different. It's the gist of it. But you'd be surprised at just how powerful that can be. That it's oftentimes it feels like there's a weight that's been lifted off of my shoulders, no matter what I'm going through. If I'm like, you know what? I've been having this pity party a little too long. Okay, I'm going to forgive myself for all the stuff that I'm pity partying myself about. And I get out of that. And also just remember, we're doing the best we can. You are doing the best you can. I'm
Mhm.
doing the best I can. Robin's doing the best she can. We're all doing the best we can with the resources, with the energy, with the knowledge, with everything that we have. Give ourselves grace. We're doing
And
the best we can.
and a break.
So, well, I could feel you going to the dumps and my heart goes out. Yes. And here, and imagine me giving you a big hug and helping you lift out of that as well.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Well, we're going to wrap up with this last one. And this is by Deanne. And she says, okay, so who has seen Fried Green Tomatoes? The scene where Kathy Bates loses her mind and smashes into the VW. That's got to be me. I'm really trying to keep it in check, but it's getting tough. Sometimes the Meno rage wants to take over. Oh boy,
Wanda.
that's Wanda.
Wanda, I love that scene. I loved that scene when I first saw the movie. I think it came out in like 89 or something. But I love that scene. And even more so now that I totally get it. I totally get where Evelyn, that was the character she was coming from. Because I gotta tell you, Robin, I gotta tell you this story. Because I thought of that movie this weekend when I was at the grocery store. I was inside and I was doing the self-checkout, and I have my like 10 little items here, and we have to bring our own bags because they don't have them in the store anymore. So I'm at the self-checkout machine and I discover that the machine can see if there's something still in my cart, whether it's my purse or my wallet or an extra bag that I didn't use. So then it beep, beep, calls the attendant over, and then the attendant has to beep, 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 beep some numbers to clear that out. Okay, fine. So then I go to pay and I have my debit card and I put it in the machine and it asks me if I want cash back. And I say no. So I hit the no. And then it says, do you authorize a 75-cent cashback fee? I'm like, well, no, because I'm not getting cash back. So I say no, and it says we are not able to do this transaction. And I go through that like 3 or 4 times. And I'm the kind of person that will yell at the machine and like talk to the machine and like say mean things to the scanning machine, which doesn't help. Don't do that. They don't like it. But anyway, so finally I called the attendant back over and I said, I'm in this cycle of I don't want cash back and it's telling me I need it. And she goes, oh, well, that machine doesn't like debit cards. Like, okay. And she said, yeah, that we need to put a sign or something on there. It's been doing that. It just doesn't like your debit card. Like, okay. And I said, so all of a sudden, and you're like, and this is such a change for me, Robin, than like even probably like 2 years ago, because I'm always go out of my way to be super nice to everybody. And I can tell I'm fine, I'm happy. And so I could feel that little like something coming up. And I feel like my filter is thinning. And I said, well, what do you suggest I do here then? Because I would very much like to purchase these items and I do have money to do so on this card. And she says, well, you can tell that somebody probably tried to clean this screen and it's like there's something wrong with the screen. So then I have no reason to say this. Like, I don't even know where this came from, Robin, but it's like, I said, oh, so you tell me there's like a skimmer on this? I'm like going, like, and I'm like smiling, and she goes, no, I don't think it's the skimmer. I just think it's broken. And I was like, so what do you suggest I do now? She says, well, I can ring you up over here. And I said, let's do that. And so then I go, and I was just like, I'm like, I'm like crazy lady. So is there a skimmer? Is it stealing my money? Of course not. And then it's funny because I was thinking in my head, to Wanda, not against the poor girl working there. I mean, I get it, but against that stupid machine. And then it's funny because there was this little old man behind me, and he was like in the little cart, like the little motorized cart, and he's like the machine behind me, and he's like, it doesn't like debit cards. it doesn't like it for me either. And I'm laughing. And the gal's like, yeah, just remember next time you come back, don't go to this machine. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could do that. But it's such a
Like
long
it's
story.
your responsibility to remember, not
I'm
their
like, yeah, but
responsibility
I'm
to
like
fix
Lee in
it.
my brain. I'm like, I was gonna take my card and just like bam to Wanda. It was so funny. So that was going through, that was making me smile because I'm like, gosh, 2 years ago, I would have been like, okay, well, maybe I'll get my credit card, or maybe I'll just forget about it, or maybe I'll just go through the line. No, I'm like, "Ugh." I was nice, and I will say I was nice, and I was not at all mean to the girl. I was just like, I could just tell with me. I was like, oh, I gotta keep this in check, or else checkout stand number 4 is gonna have some bigger problems and not being able to take a debit card. But yeah, I was thinking of that movie, and then when I saw that post this morning, I was like, oh, somebody is reading my mind.
Yes, yes. But seriously, that is a real thing. I mean, when our hormones are out of whack, it
Mhm.
does set us off. And I can, yes, over the years, I can recount lots of different times, and it comes up so fast too.
Mhm.
And it's just like this little trigger. And in your mind, your critic is going, no, don't do it, don't do it, and then out of your mouth it comes, or the
I'm like,
action comes. You're just
I'm
like,
like, who is this
oh.
person? Like, why am I just spews right out. And I don't know, Robin, if it's so much, I imagine it's hormones as well, but what if we're just at an age where our threshold for BS
Mhm.
is just gone? It's like, nah, I own it. For me, I am 51 years old. I've seen a lot of things. I've been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
My threshold for
for BS is
nonsense
right
is
there.
nah, I
Oh,
don't need this anymore, as long as I'm not mean to other people, or that, which I never am, even though for me any sort of that's another conditioning too. I've always been so nice and so like, okay, accommodating. Uh,
yeah.
it
Well,
would take a
I
lot for
have
me
a
to,
I have a low tolerance for stupidity.
yes.
I just like, if you're driving in front of me and you can't figure out which lane you're in, that's a button pusher for me. It's like, pick a lane, any lane, just not my lane.
Exactly. It's kind of fun too. It's kind of fun to kind of let that go of like, you know what? I'm not, no, I'm gonna give you the look. I'm gonna
Yes,
give
and I
you
have
the
given people the look
mhm.
on different times and driving. Yeah, freeway driving, I have a very low tolerance for
Yeah.
stupidity on the road. And oh my gosh, lately, I in summertime, I think it's more prevalent in the summertime on the freeways. And we just see these idiot people that
Yes.
are, reckless on the road, and then, endangering other people. And we don't want to engage them, but in the same respect, it's like, where are the police officers that are supposed to stop these speeding people so that they don't hurt
Right.
other people, kind of thing. But every once in a while, I'm that idiot that's driving in the fast
Oh
lane.
yeah. Or I'm the one with the blinker on for like 2 miles. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry about that. Oopsie daisies. Or yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not perfect out there on the road, that's for
I
sure.
can, yeah, I can definitely be the one too. So it's like, which street do I turn down so I go really slow, and there's 5 cars back there, and they're all like, I know, you're honking at me. I'm the idiot today. But
I can still drive at night though, so that's helpful. I can still see for the most part. But yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, definitely it's an older one, but it's really fun. And
oh
actually, I
yeah.
recommend it for my book club because it actually is based on there was a book called Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe
Yes.
that is just as good as the movie. It's more in depth, but definitely speaks to
Yeah.
me on a whole different level now that I'm 51 versus when I was, gosh, in my 20s when I first read it. But
Jessica Tandy was in that one, and she
she
was so
was.
good. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, they were all good, and but
Mhm.
just that scene of Kathy Bates and her red lipstick and her red, and she's got it all, and she's smashing into it, and
I know.
Yeah.
And what she says, I've got more insurance.
I'm older and I have more insurance. Fun fact though, insurance won't cover that any intentional acts I discovered. So not personally, just in reading. Yeah, so that was some creative license, I think. But yeah, it's just a funny movie.
It
Well,
is.
gosh, this has been such a fun episode. We're going to do more of these because I think they're fun. There's a lot of questions that y'all are asking that I want to answer or give you guys love and support. And then sometimes I just don't have, I'm not able to type it up. And we're going to be bringing in more care providers to have this kind of conversation as well. But before we end this episode, it is time for our final marble of the
Marvel of the
day
day.
for the marble contest. Once again, you have already signed up for the retreat, for the Menopalooza retreat in Sedona, then you can enter in to win a $250 spa gift certificate in this drawing. If you haven't, go ahead and there's a link for you to sign up. But if you want to enter the drawing, today's marble is self-care. Self-care. And so click the link below, enter that in. That is an entry into the drawing for the gift certificate. If this is your first episode and you're like, hey, wait, there's 5 others, just go back the last 5 episodes. We started this at the beginning of July, I believe July 4th was the first podcast. So the last 6, and listen, you can enter as many times as you like. And each entry enters into the drawing, and good luck. You will be notified if you are the winner before you go to Sedona so that you can plan and schedule. But good luck. And again, the links are in the show notes below and in the description. What I also think I'm going to do, since we're talking about sleep, I'm going to enter, there's a link below that you can access the sleep recording that I made that I used to give to my clients. And a lot of people like, no cost. You just click on the link, enter in your email address, and you'll be able to access and download it. The link will be below. Always want to help. Again, just anything to help slow that mind chatter down so that you can start relaxing and get sleep. Also, one last thing I want to say is if you are wanting to know more about how to relax that mind and body, I invite you to come to one of my Wednesday night mind massages. I hold them on Wednesday evenings. There's a link below as well to check out that every Wednesday night. If that Wednesday doesn't work, the calendar will show you the next one. Just pick a day and time and sign up, and I'm happy to show you how to go into mind and body relaxation. Once you learn how to do that, you can do that anytime. You can learn how to do that on your own anytime you just need to take a break from those anxious feelings, from the nervousness feelings, any of that. Robin, you got anything else to add?
Well, I have just really enjoyed this podcast. It's been a lot of fun talking about the different posts that we see, and I hope some of these I hope some of these tools will resonate with you and try them. I also have a mindset reset, and it is a 20-minute conversation that helps you to look at your world in a different way. Change your mindset. What, garbage in and garbage out. Well, we can change that. We can turn that around so that there's love and joy that's coming in and love and joy that's going out. And you will feel a whole lot better. It'll lighten your load. So give me a call. Check that out. So this has been the Menowave Lounge. Hot flashes and cool conversations. See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for joining us in the Menowave Lounge. If you'd like to connect with Marty, Robin, our guests, or any of our expert Menowave care providers for personalized advice and support, head on over to our website at menowave.org and fill out an assessment that will match you with a provider who knows just how to help. Remember, you don't have to face menopause alone. Our team is here to provide the guidance and care you deserve. So, take that step towards reclaiming your well-being and connect with a Menowave care provider today. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Menowave Lounge, Hot Flashes and Cool Conversations.